You know, we've been kind of shooting around just a little entrance foyer area, and again, we've got these pieces of wall decor back here that I thought really picked up nice color of Megan's hair and so forth. So I thought, well, we just do some really nice angular kinds of, you know, 3/4 length poses of her against those pieces of wall decor. Now, what I've done here is beforehand, I took the louvers in the dining room and I actually closed them so that we didn't have any of that light coming in here for some of those other images. But in this case here, we've actually had everybody open the louvers to see if I could get any direction of light coming on her face. And I see a little bit coming in, not too much, but a little. So we're going to take a couple of these without flash, and then we're going to bring in my umbrella and see if it how it looks without or with and without. We've got beautiful positioning of her hands, just magnificent positioning of her hands. We have her right hand coming down, just gracefully wrapping around the bouquet, and we have the left hand coming out with fingers extended, kind of catching the petals that way too. So back here again, I'm going to actually drop her in what I call the right quadrant of my bottom right quadrant of my viewfinder here. Imagine that your viewfinder is cut on a horizontal center and a vertical center. You'll have 4 quadrants. I think it works best when we try to put our subjects in one of those quadrants. And I think this is a pretty nice image we got coming in here. Aaron, let's go ahead and bring your umbrella in and give me 8th power at the, probably back up just a little bit more because I'm at 5/6, 16. I'm going to speed up my shutter speed to not a 15th, but I'm going to take it up to a 30th of a second. That's going to reduce some of the ambient light, but since my umbrella is coming in here, it's going to be my primary light source, so let's see what happens. We might have problems, we might not, but let's just take a couple photographs and see. It's awful pretty. Let's do another one here, and again. We have just gorgeous lighting on her face. The ratio seems a little hot to me. That's about a 4-to-1 ratio. And if I want to soften that ratio, what I can do is I just need some fill flash. Where am I going to get my fill flash? Well, I can use my on-camera flash. But I've got the camera turned sideways. She's pretty close to that back wall. If I use this flash, it's going to throw what I call an ugly shadow on the back wall. But when I look up here, I got light-colored ceilings, kind of. I'm just going to take my on-camera flash, turn it on, and I'm just going to let it be at 0 right now because I think I'll get enough light fall off here, but I think this may give me the fill that I need. Now my problem is that it's actually kind of warm colors around here, so my fill came in here just maybe a little bit too warm. I'm going to actually reduce it by about 1 stop and see if that helps me here. And again, perfect right here. And again. And it's just with me turning down the power of the on-camera flash, it's warmed up the scene beautifully. We got great light on her face. You can see the beautiful loop lighting on her face and everything. So that being said, let me bring in our groom. Let's bring Christian in. Christian, I just want you just standing next to her because I've got line coming from her feet on this side here, if you don't mind. Kick the right foot out this way some more. Yeah, okay, that's good. All right, perfect. So the Lord and Lady of the Manor here. Christian, just lean in just a fraction. Good, chin down a fraction. Right there. Lord and Lady of the Manor right here, just coming in with those guys. And what I'm trying to do is just crop him on his right or left, because if I go over this way, let me just show you, I've got that bright light coming in from the back part of the house, which I think is really distracting. I'm noticing something else here that I'm not as pleased with, and that happens to be the shadow that we're throwing on Christian's face, or from his head, right on that back wall. What happens if I move you to the right a little bit more, Aaron? It'll add a little bit more severity of the light on her face, but it may make the shadow on his head just scoot by the wall. And that actually did pretty well. So one more time here. And I think that's working pretty well. He's split lit. She's going into a loop lighting pattern, a Rembrandt lighting pattern where the nose shadow connects with the cheek shadow. If you remember, we talked about that earlier in this video segment here. But I still think it makes a really pretty photograph. What happens if you lean into him just a little bit more? Now turn your head away from me a little bit more. And back to me again. Okay, chin down just a bit, Christian. And again. Okay, you guys can relax. So I think we got some cool things going on here in our composition. You saw how we just fussed with the light just a little bit. You saw how we kind of changed or kind of fixed some of our problems. The main problem I was seeing was really the shadow of Christian's head falling across that back wall back there. But just reorienting Aaron around, I would say, counterclockwise from my position here, solved our shadow problem. And even though it put Megan from our loop lighting pattern into the Rembrandt lighting pattern, I thought she could really hold it. The lighting was still pretty on her face. So all that, kind of the angles, the lines, the colors and everything, I think really gave us a neat photograph.